Animate Project 3 Animated Internet Ads. We are on Stage 3, Repurposing Animate Content. Our first ad is done, but the client wanted to have 3 versions using different standard sizes, but with the same content in each one. We're not going to try to rebuild what we've done. We're going to try to scale our content to fit the new document properties. We need to create a larger rectangle size and then a smaller square one. We are going to start with our saved file, and in our Properties panel we are going to click the Advanced Settings button. In the dialog box that opens, we're going to change the width dimensions to 336 and the height to 280. Check Scale Content and then click OK to make that change. Now you can go to File and you're going to Save As, and this keep the same things but change the medium to large, algae, and hit Save. Now that's going to replace the one that I did earlier, so let me save that one. Yes, I'm replacing it. Now we have to manually adjust the content for the other one. We are going to close this file and reopen the medium rectangle that we created before. Make sure everything again is deselected, and again you're going to pick up your advanced setting buttons. This time we're changing and going smaller. Make sure that the constraint is not selected. We're going to change our dimension in both width and height to 250. Check Scale Content and then click OK. Now the new file doesn't have that same aspect ratio. Our first change did. The larger one scaled up and it was the same ratio. This one is not, so we are going to have to make some manual adjustments to this. Let's continue first by saving this as, and this is CKO square. Yes, I'm replacing the one I did earlier. And let's go to frame 1 in the timeline. We want the playhead to be at the beginning of the movie. We are going to zoom in just a little bit here, 100, maybe 200, so that I can see this a little better. First thing you notice is that we have the kayak, the water, the text, the sun all kind of floating up a little too high. So we're going to select the logo type, the kayaker, so control click to do this, the water, and skip down to the sun. And we're going to pull all of those, hold your shift key down so they go in a straight line, and click that align to the bottom of the stage, and you can click off to deselect. If we play our animation through right now, we're going to discover that our kayaker is going uphill. We also can see that our image of the kayaks is too small, but the first thing we need to do is fix that kayaker. He is not going to paddle uphill. We want to take a look at the first frame, select the kayaker, and look at the position for his Y. Remember, X is going to be at 1, but we want that Y factor to be remembered. So let's actually select that and Control C to copy that number. And we made a change at frame 30, so let's click on frame 30 and select the kayaker, and in the Y, Control V to paste that number that we had and hit enter to make that change. That sets him nicely back on the water. The next change was at frame 37. Select that again. Select the kayaker, highlight the Y factor, Control V to replace that text, hit enter, and he is sitting back on the water where he's supposed to. Frame 60 where he's off screen, we don't want him running uphill, so let's grab that again. Again, select him to access position and paste in that number and hit enter to make that change, and we now have our kayaker running across as we should. Play the animation and he lovely goes through the water, and that's good. Let's save that before we make any errors. Next we need to fix the photo layer, so we are going to select the photo layer and click on frame 30. Choose the free transform tool. Move the transformation point up to the top center handle, and then in the transform panel, scale proportionally the photo so that it just falls behind the wave. And then in frame 60 we're going to select the photo again, and this time we are going to again go to the transform tool, move the transformation handle to the top, and we're going to again transform out to the same proportion. I believe it was take a look at the number. If you aren't sure, if you don't remember, go back and double check. 103, so let me go back to that, and yours might scale slightly different. 103, and make that change, and now we should be able to play this through and have everything work just like it did. Yes, it does. So we're going to save that change, and then we will move on to publishing our ad files. We are going to export our images. We can do those as a static graphic with one frame as a JPEG or as a GIF or a GIF file, depending on which way you want to pronounce it. And we're going to export our movie, and we are going to select the SWF movie. We aren't going to do a JPEG sequence. That's going to give you one image of each frame, and we don't want 60 frames of that. Same thing with the other sequences. We want to export the SWF. If we export this as an MOV file, it is going to be a QuickTime movie. It's also a much larger file than we want to deal with. With our file open, we are going and saved, we are going to choose File, Publish Setting, and in this setting we are going to select this as a flash file. We do not want to deal with the HTML wrapper at this point. It's going to be submitted otherwise, and accept the rest of the default settings and click OK to publish. Save the file again, and you can close it. Open up the medium rectangle file, go to File, Publish Settings. Again, remove the HTML wrapper. Go ahead and publish this. Say OK. You can close this and save the change, and open your last file. Remove the HTML wrapper, publish, say OK. You should then have all three of your files, and those are the three files you're going to submit to me. And I did make one mistake on this. I should have, well, actually you can go back in. Let me pull up my files, and if you would, before you submit these to me, if you would select the file before you send it and rename it and just add your initials so that I can keep them straight, that'll be fine. And you want to go ahead and play your files to make sure that they're playing correctly. Mine keep popping up in the very top corner. And you do not need to submit your Animate file unless you had an issue creating it. Otherwise, submit those 3 SWF files. They're very small. They're only 190K each. And you're done with this segment.